Thank you very much, Jimmy. We're set for the 130-pound weight class. It'll be Gene Curran from Archbishop Curley High School in Baltimore, Maryland, who's 38-0 this year with 26 pins, a two-time state champion, national prep school champion. He'll be going up against the other Van Tassell cousin, Donald Van Tassell, who hails from Minico High School in Rupert, Idaho. He's 128-10 in his career, 29-0 this year with 2 state titles.
Yes, Mr. Curran has 26 pins or falls, 2-time state champ. He was the national prep school champ, Gene Curran. So it's Maryland versus Idaho in this 130-pound weight class.
And it'll be, in this division, Bob Coletta as the official. Bob Coletta, the official. Both the wrestlers getting some last-minute instructions as we're ready to start the 130-pound championship. And it'll be Gene Curran wearing the green anklets, and Donald Van Tassell will wear the red anklets in the 130-pound class.
As we wait them to start, George, I can just see this tournament only going bigger and bigger. I think, at the first year of it, they weren't quite sure, the contestants, how it was going to turn out. But it's had such favorable response by the college coaches and the fans here that I think most of the state champs. Now, you can't be a junior or a sophomore and come here. You lose your eligibility in most states in the spring sports if you want to participate. But I think in the future we're going to see almost everybody that wins a state championship and is a senior come to the Tournament of Champions.
Gene Curran and Donald Van Tassell. Maryland against the state of Idaho. And Maryland's really been coming on lately in the sport of wrestling.
Yeah, they're one of the states that is picking up with intensity. They're like Michigan, and they're on that next level below Oklahoma and Iowa and California and Ohio. But Maryland has improved. They've increased their people wrestling in their state by 20% in the last 3 years.
Van Tassell almost had a takedown there, but Curran very slippery and got away from him. They remain in the standing position with 1:19 remaining in the first period.
And of course, our collegiate national championship was at the Cole Fieldhouse, University of Maryland this year, and great turnout every night for the national championships, which we should mention, and later on we'll show you all the champions in the different divisions, but Oklahoma State was our Division I national champion in the NCAA.
In on a leg is Van Tassell, but he can't get control. As Curran very tough on his feet.
If there's such a thing as a heady wrestler, it's Van Tassell. He has a grade point average of 3.65, so he does very well in the classroom. As most of the wrestlers that we saw, George, with 40 seconds to go, we have an injury timeout.
They're working on Donald Van Tassell right now. It looks like he's got a cut lip.
There's a little blood connected with this one, so you won't see the timer out with the time. Blood doesn't count, George.
No blood, no foul? Is that
I think that's that league with 3 letters called the NBA.
NBA, yeah.
Right. Good to see the banners all over the arena. Kansas, California, Iowa. As you said, George, the Iowa people, Portland Wrestling Club. We have wrestlers from the state of Alaska here, 3 of them. So it's truly a national wrestling championship.
Both wrestlers struggling to get any kind of a hold as we're 25 seconds away from the end of the first period. We're scoreless between Donald Van Tassell and Gene Curran, 130-pound weight division. I got to believe Brian Van Tassell is somewhere checking this match out, Mike.
Well, the cousin Van Tassels. It will be unbelievable if they can both win a national championship.
Curran is in on the leg, and that ends the first period. He did not get the points for the takedown as the period ended before he gained control. Green defers. That means that Curran has deferred, and Van Tassel will start the second period in the down position. He's got a half Nelson as he retains control. Now,
unlike the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, a full Nelson is
illegal.
Is illegal here, but the half Nelson, perfectly fine.
Now he's just got the tight arm waist and a 1-point escape for Van Tassel. He leads 1-0 as they both go off the mat. Both of them are still checking each other out right now.
This has been more like a heavyweight prize fight. They're really feeling each other out. The first
There's
2 minutes.
two-point takedown on the double leg by the young man from Archbishop Curley High School in Baltimore, Maryland, Gene Curran. He leads 2-1.
That's in the Baltimore League. As we said, they're a prep school. They were in the National Prep Tournament this year.
Van Tassel has the 1-point escape. We're tied at 2.
Curran was a 2-time state champion. The prep schools are allowed in the regular state championships in Maryland. And he was a national prep tournament winner, so he can be a double national champ, George, this year in the national prep tournament and here in our national high school tournament.
Van Tassel shoots in on a leg, but he can't gain control. Curran very tough on his feet. Once again in on that leg. And they both go off the mat with 9 seconds remaining here in the second period.
No control, still 2-2, 9 seconds.
Van Tassel with a nice high crotch attempt that time. That's the end of the second period with the score. Donald Van Tassel with 2 points, Gene Curran with 2 points, and we move into period number 3.
George, I think we have a good one here. These two young men really surprised a lot of people going through their bracket at 130, but Idaho and Maryland came out on the top.
Once again, Van Tassel is bleeding as he goes to the sideline.
Curran beat Kurt Schultz from Wisconsin
And I
in the
see that they
semifinals.
just put 2 points up on the board for the takedown. They did give him a takedown at the end of that period, so Curran now leads 4-2. They were taking their time before they put the 2 points up on the board.
Well, the two referees got together, George, and decided there was 2 before the clock ran out at the end, and that's what the discussion was for, and they did give 2 points.
So Gene Curran with a 4-2 lead over Donald Van Tassel as we move into...
Once again, it shows you the worth of the outside official. Both officials conferred that it should have been 2 points for Van Tassel.
Curran starting from the down position here in the third period. Van Tassel trying to gain some leverage.
Bob Coletta, the official from Eastern PA, is right down in there.
And there's a 1-point escape and a 2-point takedown for Gene Curran. And it's now 5-3 in favor. Check it. It should be, they messed up on the scoreboard. Let's see what they put up there. It should be 6-2 in favor of Gene Curran. Or is it 6-3?
Yes, 6-3. It was 5, and they gave a 1 point.
Okay, we've got it straightened out now with 1:07 remaining.
Third period. The referees are going to check now because the scoreboard was wrong. They took the score off the board, and the outside official very quickly wants to make sure, since you're in a national championship situation, that the scoreboard is right.
Is it correct? I think they have, they're still discussing it.
The crowd hasn't been as boisterous in the tournament simply because you have no home favorites, really. Pennsylvania, they're only in 3 of the finals. So these are spectators from all 41 states that are representative, so they're kind of just sitting back watching.
I guarantee you, Mike Rice, when we get into the next division at 135 pounds with Steve Cassidy from Plum High School here in Pittsburgh wrestling, that it might get a little boisterous around Fitzgerald Fieldhouse.
Yes, I'm sure he's a state champion from Pennsylvania. As you said, George, he's about a half hour away from the Fieldhouse.
Now they've adjusted that score. It is 7-2 in favor of Gene Curran.
And that's going to make it much tougher for Van Tassell to duplicate what his cousin did earlier in the night.
They both go off the mat. 1 point for Van Tassell for the escape. Seven to 3 in favor of Curran with 51 seconds remaining. He's got to get some points in a hurry.
38 seconds. It can be done.
Curran in on a leg. And they both go off the mat.
As you notice, the referee did not stop it until the points of emphasis went off the knees that were in bounds to the elbows that were out of bounds. And you'll notice that sometimes you think both wrestlers are out, but they look at the feet and the knees of the wrestler in bounds and see where the weight distribution is.
They both go off the mat. Van Tassell losing his headgear.
17 seconds, 7-3.
From the standing position, Curran appears to be firmly in control of this match with 11 seconds remaining, and he shoots in on a leg. Very aggressive. And that'll do it. The young man from Archbishop Curley High School in Baltimore, Maryland, Gene Curran, ups his record to 39-0 this year, and he defeats Donald Van Tassell to win the national championship in the 130-pound weight class. Gene Curran from Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, he has 26 pins this year, 26 falls. This wasn't one of them, but he'll take it. He's a national champ.
Both wrestlers being congratulated by their respective head coaches. And Gene Curran strides across the mat, the national champion, heading toward our own Jim Herbstritt. Take it away, Jimmy.
Thanks very much, George. Gene Curran, congratulations. First you were the prep champion, and now you're the national champion. How's it feel?
Feels great. I still got a long ways to go before I can say I'm #1 high school wrestler on 130, but with hard work, I might be there one day.
I'm sure you will be if you go at this rate. 41 states you're the champion. That's not too bad.
Nah, not bad at all. Thanks.
What do you think of the competition here? Was it as tough as it was at the prep championships?
Much tougher. Much.
Well, congratulations to you, Gene. Good luck in your future.
All right, thank you very much.
And now let's take it back. Before we go back to George and Mike, let's pause for this commercial break.